Finding and living your great basic purpose. Most of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Those of you that have been around for a while are probably saying, oh my gosh, is he talking about this again? But it's so important. It's so vital. And I wanted to just come on and remind you about this tremendous subject here again this morning on our morning mantra. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is New Cosmic Knowledge. What is your great basic purpose? Well, by definition, the great basic purpose is the reason that you're here for. This is what you're here for. Hello, Jerry. Your great basic purpose, what you're put here to do, what you're put here to be, what your job is, what your calling is, what your real reason for living is, your great basic purpose, Sherry and Critical and Rachel. And it's very vital that you find this. People pouring into the chat room. Nice to see one in all of you. People don't even understand this. People have no concept of it. And that's why most of our lives are empty, and why Helen Keller once wrote that most men lead lives, and women too, of quiet desperation. I want to give you a quick primer on what the great basic purpose is and some basic encouragement on how to find your great basic purpose. Your great basic purpose is that reason for your being. It's that thing that you know that you are here to do. It's the thing that you know you've always wanted to do. It's the thing that you feel most fulfilled when you're doing it. And of course, the question becomes, if it's your great basic purpose and if you're supposed to be doing it, then why aren't we doing it? And that really is the question that I'm trying to address here today. And I'm trying to spark within you the desire to do it. For me, the easiest way, and this doesn't always work, but it probably works about 95% of the time, to be very frank with you, it probably works about 95% of the time. To find your great basic purpose, one of the easiest things to do is to think back when you were a child and people asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? When I was a kid and people would ask me, what did I want to be when I grew up? I would always say a sportscaster. I wanted to be a hockey announcer. I wanted to be a football announcer. I wanted to be the guy on ESPN, which was new at that time. And if I'd only been old then, I'd be older now, right? But I wanted to be a newscaster, a sportscaster, really, not just a newscaster, a sportscaster. That's what I wanted to be. And of course, as I went on in my life and found out I was not going to play in the NHL or the NFL, and found out that I got called into religion, then I went and became a preacher. But you can see the idea of the great basic purpose of being a sportscaster working into being a preacher. And then, of course, after the events of my life that led me away from being a preacher, going into sales, you can see the idea of being a sportscaster and now also working into sales. And now here I am finally, I'd say 53 years old is when I finally found my groove. This, what I do here on this YouTube, this what we do with New Cosmic Knowledge, this is my great basic purpose, and this is what I'm doing. I'm living my great basic purpose. Now, I've been far better off financially, but I've never been as happy as I am right now. And regardless of my personal situations and my physical situation, let's just talk about this, the GBP, the great basic purpose. I've never been more in the middle of it. I've never been more fulfilled, and I've never been more happy because I'm living in the very center of my great basic purpose. Now, it wasn't to be a sportscaster. It was to be a teacher of spiritual practices, and it was to be a spiritual encouragement, and it was to help be a watchman, if you will, of the fear and guilt control matrix, people putting us under control and bondage. I wasn't really meant to talk about hockey and football. I was meant to talk about being divine, sovereign, and free. And I'm here and I'm doing it. But if you think back to what you wanted to be when you were a kid, well, Jeff, I'm 50 years old and I wanted to be an astronaut. What am I going to do now? Well, think about it. An astronaut. That has to do with space. Maybe you can do something in the high technology department, or maybe you're supposed to talk to people about proving there's no flat earth. I don't know. But I'm saying that most of the time, when you look back into your childhood, you'll find some hints of what your great basic purpose is and you'll know whether you're following it today. So what did you want to be when you grew up? And if you're grown up, why aren't you doing it? Or why aren't you finding the real root of what your great basic purpose is and start doing it? Love and light to all of you. Namaste to all of you. I salute you for being here seeking after truth. I need you to find your great basic purpose because we are the last generation of real humans. And we need to be excellent to each other. And we need to get busy, cousins.